What's going on, people? What's going on? This is Lawrence D. Adams. And yes, I am here right now. We're about to start in a few seconds, looking for something right quick to load up, and we will start. Dre, what's going on to all the people listening? This is Lawrence D. Adams. I'm live and direct. I'm actually going to come up in a second, looking for something to load up. This is a thing when you have stuff on your different spots. But yeah, this is Lawrence D. Adams. Today we're going to talk about the first person that you must run game on is who? Ooh, boy, this is going to be good. So let me know you're in the chat room. Put in my good people, my good brother. Let me know that you're there. Waiting for the click to happen for us with YouTube. And let me know that you are there. And we're going to start off really, really good. We're going to start off here. Here we go. Let's start out with this a little bit. Let's get it started here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started. This is Lawrence D. Adams. The first person that you must. Who is that first person? This is Lawrence D. Adams. We're about to start in a second. I'm going to drop the music, pull the camera up. What's going on, everybody? This is Lawrence D. Adams, and yes, I'm live right now, direct, ready to get going. Got the black cap on, signature hat. Let's get it going today. The first person, remember the number for today is 8. All this week is 8 because of new beginnings. So let me put that in the chat room. The first person you must win game on is who? So we're going to get started in a second. Get this rolling. And pull it. So the first person, let's get it started right quick. 8 is the number. Yes, it is. 8 is it. So the first person, this is the theme that, see, a lot of people didn't come in for it. It's good. Let's get this started. See, when we talk about, once again, when we talk about game over here, we're talking about strategy. So the first person that you always need to run game on is yourself. That's right. The first person that you need to run game or must run game on is yourself. See, none of it works on anyone else until you work the strategy on yourself. And two, we talked about it yesterday, but I want to go a little bit further into it. Then I'm going to sort of segue into some other things that I want to talk about. But the first person that you must run the game on is yourself. Why do I say you must run the game on yourself? It is because everything begins and ends with you. Everything begins and ends with you. When you realize that, let me take this off so you can see this. Everything begins and ends with you. It starts with you. See, the thing of it is we think it starts with a woman. We think it starts with a job. We think it starts with something else. But it always begins and ends with you. You are the starting point where it starts. The first person that you must learn game on is yourself. And what do I mean? Running game, because you hear it in the street terms or you hear it on other YouTube channels, that means the first person to partake of it must be yourself. That means you have to believe in yourself, like we talked about yesterday, that what you're doing is going to work. But you have to be the first partaker of it. How can you do something to somebody else and good afternoon. How can you do something to someone else, but you have not been the first taker of it? You must run the game on. You must be convinced that what you're going to do, it will work. So it always starts in you. See, everything I can talk, we could talk about women, we could talk about the men, could have been talking about business transaction, but everything ends and begins with you. That's why I preach what or talk about the gospel of responsibility. When you realize that it begins with you, then everything begins to change. Why does it begin and end with you? Because it is responsibility. So the first person that you must run game on, or run, if we say game in that situation, in that way, is yourself. You have to be the first partaker of it. Why? How in the dare are you going to try to use something or someone, or try to run game, or you strategize somebody else and you have not did it on yourself, or have not convinced that it works for yourself? It always starts with you. It starts with you. It starts with you, because as I wrote in my book, be honest with yourself first, because everything else is just an illusion. What that saying is, you have to be honest that what you're doing is first, and everything else is just an illusion that you give life to. You become the director for everything that happens in your life. So it always starts in you first. Once you realize that it starts in you first, guess what happens? Guess what happens? You got to be the first partaker of it. You have to be the first partaker of it. Why? Because it starts in you first. The problem is we have a lot of people who want to get this and understand it and try to use it. Yes, everything begins and ends with you. So, and try to use it. But what happens is they have not been convincing themselves that it will work. They have not been convincing themselves that it works. When you are not convinced that it works, guess what's going to happen? It's not going to work for you. Like my grandfather used to say, or I call him, you can't lose with the stuff I use. He used to say that all the time. You can't lose with the stuff I use. You can't lose with the stuff I use. Why? Because it first begins and ends with you. You must become the director, right, of everything that comes in your life. And that's what most people don't want. You must become the director of everything that comes into your life. See, it's easy to say, well, it ain't over here. This don't work. That don't work. You shouldn't do that. But once you realize, when you realize that everything begins and ends with you, you have a different approach in life. Then you realize when you do approach that young lady and that you see that she's interested, you realize that the interaction begins and ends with you. And for the woman, if you see that a man that is talking to you, whatever the case it may be, you realize that you have an option or a choice whether it ends and begins in you. See, the thing of it is no one wants to go any further with that. So it's something else I want to segue into with this. It begins and ends with you. You must be the director of your life. You must make that choice. And what happens is you can't lose the stuff I use. Right. That's what he said. You can't lose with the stuff I use. The problem is too many people, because I was going to name this title, this show, or something else. They don't want to put in the work to get the results. So how can you say effectively that what I'm talking about does not work if you have not put in the work and realizing that it starts with you? You must be the person who puts in the work. And what do I mean put in the work? That means you have to work on yourself. Work on yourself, but also your perspective on how you see life. Many times why it does not work is because of your perspective of the opposite sex. The reason why it does not work is because you have the wrong perspective of the opposite sex. Let me say that again. The reason why it does not work for you, and you can listen to all the dating coaches, you can listen to everybody that's talking on YouTube, but it does not work for you because you realize you haven't did the first thing with you first. It's because you have the wrong perspective of the opposite sex. It is when you have a healthy perspective of the opposite sex, and you understand the opposite sex's nature, can you effectively go out there and have what? A healthy relationship. And have a what? Have a healthy relationship. That's what the thing is. Most people are not willing to have an healthy, are not willing to what? Change their perspective on the opposite sex because they have not changed their perspective on themselves. So they're constantly looking at themselves through the lens of hurt, disappointment, what they heard, this that took place, and not a healthy, not a delusional, but a healthy perspective of themselves and the opposite sex. That's the reality. That's why I'm saying it always starts in you first. It starts in you first. You need to change your perspective of, like the one young lady came in, I thought of all men as dogs. So what is she going to attract? All men that are dogs. Because she needs to change her perspective. No matter what strategy she changes, guess what happens? No matter what strategy that she try to use, it would never work because her perspective is completely wrong. So this must go hand in hand. When you have a healthy perspective of the opposite sex, it's when you have a healthy relationship. And at the end of the day, I don't care who you are, how much, where you at, you want to have a healthy, productive relationship with the opposite sex. You may be looking for a boyfriend, you may be looking for a girlfriend, you may be looking for whatever you're looking for, but you want a healthy perspective of the opposite sex. And you must be very clear that you understand each perspective nature, because male nature and female nature are not the same. We operate completely different. That is the game. That's understanding that. That's not being delusional. And so what happens is we have so shunned something that's so important, and that's the importance of building healthy relationships with each other, with the opposite sex. Also taking it if we want to be boyfriend and girlfriend, if we want to be engaged, and if we want to get married. Who's teaching on effectively being married? Who's teaching on building the family? Who's teaching on building the family? How long are you going to be in that cycle and realize that it might be time for you to build a family? So all the horror stories that we hear that women do this, women do that, and all the horror stories that women hear about men or that. But when are we going to stop this war that's going on with each other and realize that it's about building family and building community? We have to change our perspective first of ourselves and of the opposite sex. We must change the perspective of who? Ourselves and the opposite sex. The problem is we have been listening to narratives that don't fit into where we want to go. We have been listening to narratives and people talking from their hurt and from their disappointment and their misinformation on the opposite sex and on relationship. Show me the healthy relationships. Show me the healthy businesses. Show me the right way. That's what we need to be. So we got people trying to give you driver license without even driving themselves, or not even qualified to be a driving instructor. The same thing with relationships. We have people giving you information, and it matters where you want to be at. Everybody doesn't want to be in a relationship. Right, Drake. Whatever to tell yourself you are right is coming up in your life. Whatever to tell yourself you're right, and it comes in your life. Change your perspective of ourselves and the opposite sex. That's it. See, most people don't want to do that because they want to be right. That's why I said the first person that you must run game on is yourself. You got to believe, you got to change how you see yourself. Self-image. That's what I'm getting at. I'm packaging it in a way by saying game, but the reality of it is I'm teaching basic psychology. What's going on, my good brother? I'm teaching basic psychology so that you understand what? The opposite sex and yourself, but how you interact with them. because I want to dive deeper into something else that I was going to talk about. And I heard Ron Wills. I'm giving a shout out to Ron Wills because he mentioned it. Shout out to you, bro. So because he mentioned it. So I want you to get this clearly set in stone that it starts with you. It's easy to blame the woman. It's easy to blame the man. It's easy to blame this one and that one, your mother, your sister and brother, and this one wasn't there. I didn't see everything. But in reality, it comes back to you. And the reason why I'm emphasizing this, because there has not been enough emphasis on it in this space, and I don't want to call it this space particular, but in this realm of people saying you must be responsible for you. You must be responsible for what takes place in your life. You got to think about, why did you bring that woman into your life? Why did you accept that man into your life? Why did you start that business? Why are you on this job? It is called responsibility. And the reason why I'm saying it starts with you. You are the one that it starts with. It doesn't start. It's easy to say, well, this happened and that happened. No, it starts with you. When it starts with you, guess what happens? Then you get to see, wait a minute. Guess what you get to see? Wait a minute. I made a decision for this person to come in my life. I made a decision for this to take place. I agree to this, knowingly or unknowingly. So when you do that, now you get to make better choices in the future. But I need to say this, because in this space, especially talking to men, and I got women in here, is that men, it starts with you. Woman, it starts with you. Next thing, once we realize it starts with you, and you need to change, I'm repeating myself, you need to change your perspective, your perspective of the opposite sex, and change the common denominator in all life situations. You take notes. It starts with you. The first person that you must run game on is yourself. That's why I'm saying it in such a way. And the reason why I'm using the word game is because I know that when you hear that, it triggers something in you. But I'm getting at something deeper. And what the deeper part I'm getting at is, it starts in you. It starts in you. You need to change your perspective. You got to see how, I'm repeating myself, you got to change how you see the opposite sex and why you keep attracting the same thing in the opposite sex. Shout out to everyone in the chat room. It starts in you. This, like I said yesterday, this podcast, this thing I do on YouTube is not for everyone. This is for those who are mature enough and willing to go to the next level. This is not for everyone, because most people don't want to change because changing hurts too much than getting the reward of what they really want. So the first person that you must run game on is yourself. You must begin to adjust how you believe, how you see life. Why have you got to the place you got to? Because it starts in you. If this is resonating with you, let me know in the chat room. Let me know in the chat room that you see what I'm getting at. Let me know in the chat room. Let me know in the chat room this is resonating with you. This is making sense. This is connecting to all the dots that I've been teaching all along. And it almost sounds like a repeat what I'm doing, but I'm doing it for a purpose. If this is resonating with you, see, like, oh, I see now. Would you say what you attract is a reflection of you? Yes, I will say that. On some level, it's just you pushed out. On some level, what you attract is you pushed out. But let me say this, because it goes into the other part I wanted to really talk about today. Oops, a phone drop. Ugh. What I really want to talk about today, what's going on, babe? See, what's going on, everybody? So what I really want to get at is this. I'm trying to think how I can die. Thank you. I see that as everyone is connecting with everyone. This is the thing I really want to, this is what I really want to get at. And a shout out to Ron Wheels. And I'm not giving it justice. I did a little study on it last night. But sometimes, just a shout out. I need to find a video. He did a video on social class. Ron Wheels. So don't think I stole it or whatever the case. I'm giving a shout out to who gave it out. So let me say this. Because everything starts at you, we got to think, since everything starts in you, what have you been programmed to accept in your life? What type of people are you used to being around with? What kind of people do you connect with? See, I'm like books. I like art. I like going different places. And so what happens is, because of my social class or socialization, I resonate with who? I resonate with women who are on that same path. The problem is this. Some people don't want to accept where they're at and who they resonate with. So what they try to do is they try to jump out of their social class into another class without being fully changed inside. And they bring, I'll say it this way, they bring hood to the White House. Let me say that again. So you need to think about, in order to, since the game first starts, you must first run the game on you. Now you go to the next step. What I really want to talk about is this. Reflection of your socialization. Yes, that's what the problem is. Why some of your game that you're trying to use does not work, because you have not you have not reflected on your socialization or who you socialize with and who you're comfortable with. If you're used to ratchetness, guess what? You need to think about, maybe you need to get women, you need to get the top guy in that space. This is much deeper, and I'm not giving it justice. Shout out once again. Say, y'all go back and listen. Shout out to Ron Wheels. He did a video on it. Check it out. He talks about it on a much extensive way on the socialization or social class. And then even in our different communities, we have social classes or subsectors. Like, say, I'm into this. I'm into books and reading and studying and things like that, while somebody else may be into motorcycles, bike clubs, and different things. So what happens is, we have not really digest who do we really resonate with, and we need to be looking in that class. That is why this whole thing with high value men is rubbing people the wrong way, because they are in a different social class than that of the social class of the man they want. Your program controls what you think of yourself. Correct. That is the real issue. And so what happens is, if there is no part that why would I be, man, you got to think about this. I give a real simple thing. If you're used to going to Ruth Chris and you're used to going to high-end restaurants, there's nothing wrong going with different other restaurants. Why would you be happy or be satisfied when you know that's your thing and you're dealing with a woman, the best thing she ever did was go to McDonald's? Socialization, those are generalizations. That's generalization. So your socialization, you need to think about, who do you resonate really with? Too many people are trying to jump into one pool when you don't realize the temperature in that pool is not designed for you, because you've been socialized to be in one particular area. That's why I'm saying it always starts in you, and you have to do a real self-inspection or self-reflection of where are you really at? Who do you really need to be at? You need to go back, and that's why I'm saying it always starts in you. Who were the 5 guys for the women you dated? How were the 5 women that you dated? Who were they? Because you picked them. I'm going a little deep. I have to. What's going on, Alfie? Going a little deep here because I want you to get this. You need to look at the last people that you dated or who you married, who you dealt with, slept with, wherever the case may be. And you need to really look at them. What did they go to school? Did they have a degree? Did they have money? Were they working a 9 to 5? Did they didn't work? Were they drug dealers? Where she living with her mama? Did she have 5 kids or she had no kids? What about them that attracted them to you? Because what we're doing is we're doing a self-evaluation of who you picked. That's why I'm saying it always starts in you. 8, new mindset for myself, or at least on that right. 8. So I want you to get this because I'm saying something a little deeper. I'm going a little bit further. You need to do a self-evaluation because you realize it starts in you first. Who have you dated or dealt with, slept with in the past that they're showing a reflection of you, but it's also showing your social class or the people that you resonate with. The problem is let me say this to the men, you shooting your shot at women that are not in your social class. Women do the same thing too. Therefore, you have nothing that resonates with that individual. And what you're doing is 2 boats, ships passing in the night. And you saying, well, brother, it doesn't work. Your friends influence who you are. Yeah, if you allow them to. Get your paper and pen out. Get your pen and paper out. Write it out. That is it. Who were the last 5? I didn't say 10. I gave you 5 people that you really dealt with because they reveal something about you and who you're comfortable being with. Some guys can't deal with certain things about a woman. I know I have certain things that I don't deal with, I don't like, or things that I do like. But because you realize that it starts in you, then you could become better at having a successful relationship, a healthy relationship. Second of all, once you have a healthy relationship, build a healthy family. Then we build a healthy community. See, nobody wants to talk about this in this space because everybody just want to do sex, and all that. No. If you want results, I'm giving you the results, the keys to results, or the game to success right now. Look at the last 5 people you dealt with. You need to write it out. Did they have a degree? Were they educated? Did they work? Did they not work? Where did they live at? Did they have money? Were they good with money? What places did they like to go? Did they like to go over here? Did they always want to go to the bar? Did they like going to the club? Or did they like hanging out at the bodega? What did they like to do? Did they going to the art museum? Or do they not go to the art museum? Because it's showing something about you. If y'all get that, let me know in the chat room. Let me know. Shout out once again to Ron Wills. He is the one who actually, I listened to it and I thought about it all last night and I really wanted to talk about it today. But you got to look at what social class that you're really in or what you want to swim in. That's why I say if the game you must first run game on you. And then you got to understand that you are always reflecting to others who you are, but they are reflecting back to you who you really are. So if you're dealing with low level, then you realize you need to make some adjustments and you need to learn. And every social class has different rules. Every social class has what? Different rules on how they engage and what they do. I give you an example. I work a blue collar job, but yet I'm part of a community that's white collar. So when I go to different events, I don't go in my blue collar wear. I go what? In my suit, my tie, my glasses, and I go speaking their language and learning their rules of engagement game on how they deal and what they talk. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, hit the like button on this one because this one is heavy. This one is heavy. This one is heavy. So when I went to an event and there was 5, this was for Black business people, and I went to the College of Business that was here in Cleveland. I made sure that I had on a black suit, a tie, shoes was shine, and I had my pen and paper, and I looked like I fit inside of the crowd. I listened to the conversations because it's not the same social class that I would do in the blue collar world. I listened to the lawyers. I listened to the business owners. I listened to how they conversated. One was talking about insurance. One was talking about his industry that was in. I learned, and these were directors, VPs. They have a whole different way they socialize, and they can immediately spot what they can spot when someone is not part of their social class. Learn the rules of engagement and master it. That is the thing. This is too much for some of y'all. I shouldn't be sharing all this. I shouldn't be sharing all this. Some of you have only mastered the bar and not mastered going beyond there. This is too much for some people. Why keep it? For the women, why keep chopping these hood dudes? Where are you going at? Where are you socializing at? Who are your friends that you socialize with that you keep attracting what hood dudes? Men, I just get these ratchet girls. They always ratchet. Or in the words of Minister Jack, these German shepherds. Why? If you're at the dog pound, you're going to get German shepherds. Where are you socializing or connecting with? Where are you really? Who are you really engaged? Like in dating apps, there's different levels in dating apps. Just plain and simple. And who you will attract and who will attract to you. What presentation, because I said the game must be first started. You must first run the game on you. What are you presenting to the world? How do we learn the rules of engagements? I've always been stuck on that. You learn the rules of engagement by befriending someone who's in a different social class. That's how you learn the rules of engagement. You study, you go research. If they're doing this, like when I was in that environment at the business college and I had to go there for the talk, I immediately got quiet, took notes, mental notes on how I begin to study their interaction with each other. And what I did was, don't come there. Yo, what's up, cuz? How you doing, man? What's good, bro? Yeah. I didn't do that. I came there. Hi, how you doing? I'm Lawrence D. Adams. What do you do, Lawrence D. Adams? Oh, I work at this particular place. Oh, you do? What do you do there? I begin to speak their language. That's how you do it. Yes, master the social class that you want to be in, but you can master it all you want, but if you have not embodied it, you are wasting your time. So many people want people that are out of their social class or they're dipping below their social class because that's what they've been socialized in. Like the song says, started from the bottom, now we're here. That means your socialization is from the bottom. It never was from the top. Good song. I like it. Started from the bottom. Now we're here. I think it's Drake. But you got to think the socialization is that you started from the bottom. Your socialization has to be changed that you were always from the top. If this is too heavy, let me know. If this is too much for you guys, let me know. I may be talking too much. I might be giving too much of the real game. You learn the rules of engagement by interacting with others and other social classes. I give you an example. I'll give another example from my own personal life. Went to go take my mother out last year for her birthday. Her birthday is when it is. And we were in the area, Chagrin Falls. Very nice, quaint area. A lot of money flows through there. It's really nice. And it has a falls there. So we over there. I'm standing with my shoes on, not dressed nice. Light went out. With my particular clothes on, and I looked at like I belonged there or I was somebody. What happens, the locals in the area begin to come towards me. The locals in the area came towards me. You know why they came towards me? Because I looked like I fit in. And when they begin to talk with me, and I begin to explain who I was or talking with them and knew some things, I didn't say, yo, what's up, cuz? What's going to be? What's going to do, dude? What's up, blood? I didn't talk all that language. I know when to talk that, but I talk like I was intelligent. Not saying that was not intelligent, but I would talk like I was intelligent. I knew where I was going, and what was going on around me. Guess what? They automatically, without even knowing, put me into their social circle because I fit their what template of what belongs there and what doesn't. They connected me with someone for a building down the street from where I lived at. It's that simple. But the problem is, in the real game, the first game you must run is on yourself. That's what I'm saying. That means you got to do some self-reflection. You have to look back at yourself. You got to go and say, I've been attracting all these crazy women, and I wonder why. Somewhere in you, there's crazy. All of them ain't crazy, but you keep attracting crazy women who cut to do this and do that. It is you. That's the game I'm trying to give you. Once you the understanding on the knowledge that I'm giving you. If you're dealing with people that always cheat on you, you may not like what I'm about to say, but the cheater is in you. Where are you cheating yourself? Please understand what I'm saying to you. This is stepping to the next level. This is understanding why this works, because when you understand the rules of engagement, you know what game that you must execute, regardless if she likes you. She can like you all she wants, but if you are not saying or responding the right way, she's going to dismiss you. Same thing for women. If you're coming there, hi, my name is this and that. How you doing? I can do all. He's going to look, oh, good, great. He's going to think, can I take you to my formal in the winter, or we have a summer gathering at a winery, and you not say something that's going to embarrass you, but it's going to embarrass me, because the woman is always a reflection of the man. Y'all need to put that on there. The woman is always the reflection of the man. He's going to look, John, who is this? Oh, this is Brenda. Oh, okay. They would never say nothing, but they will always say, it's funny how John brought Brenda here and she doesn't fit into what we're doing. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, this is how life is. Same thing for men. She might, well, I want you to come to my Gil, I'm doing this. And you come in there with some not later shoes on, color shoes on. You got on purple, green, and blue, and you coming with your hat to the side like this. Yeah, what's up, everybody? This is Jerome. Hi, Jerome. Or you're with Tisha. Or you don't want to say Tisha, but you're with so and so. Oh, okay. I seen it happen. Women are always the reflection of the man, right? I seen it happen. I know of a situation. The wife is in corporate America, but her husband came to an event with a pimp suit on, to a corporate event. The first thing they did, their eyes bucked. And he thought now, no, mind you, he was G'd down for a different social class. He would have been the top dog in there. But at this particular social class or social gathering, that suit, what he had on, the colors that he had on, was not acceptable. But it was reflection of who she really is, because what? That is her husband. If y'all getting this, let me know in the chat room, because I'm giving something that you're not going to give. Once again, shout out to Ron Wills. Go to his channel. He has it on social class. Don't think that I came up with this. I took and I digested what he said, did some research on my own. While W.B. Du Bois talking about the 4 different social classes within the Black community, went and did some research, gathered it up, and now I'm giving it to you because I lived it. I've seen it. You said, Lord. Yeah, imagine that. They're in a business gathering. He got on a purple suit, hat to the side. Yeah, man, what's going on? Where the drinks at? She got on sequins. Right. A pimp suit at a corporate event. Right. That lets you know about her, but also lets you know about him. That is the reason why I'm saying self-reflect. Who have you dealt with in the past 5 people? You dealt with somebody. What are they reflecting on? What are they saying about you? What are they saying about you? Why? And sometimes you're shooting your shot, or you see that she's interested, but you don't fit her social class. I tell you guys, there is a way around it, but I'm not going to share it here. There is a way around it, regardless of what social class she's in. There is a way around it, but I'm not going to share it right now. You're cracking at the imaginary. Yeah, it was very, 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 very surprising. And I seen the pictures, and you couldn't tell him he wasn't clean. Now he was clean, but if he was going to a different place. That's why you need to look at who, if you bohemian, or if you into the arts and natural things, why aren't you with women who are in that area, brother? You know? Or if you into going to the museums and reading books and things like that, you need to be where? At places where the women that resonate with you are at. But I hear you on the other side. But I want a better quality woman. On some level, a woman needs to know that she can relate to you on some level. Or you're going to, if she's not relating to you, you're going to be 2 ships passing in the sea. Please understand what I'm saying to you. This is much deeper than what a lot of people want to get into. This doesn't make you feel like you're possibly putting on a different mask or not being authentic by switching up in the situation. You're trying to get in a better. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. So what I'm saying is this: you are always who you are because you've been socialized that way. But when you go into different arenas, you cannot. I give you the clearest example ever. When you go before the judge, you came to, yo, what's up, judge? How you doing? And you just sitting down when the judge comes into his court. What do? All rise. But this is Judge. So this is Judge Lawrence D. Adams, and blah 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 blah. Now you may be seated. Are you being fake or are you being real? You're being your authentic self, but you are obeying the what? The rules of engagement in that court. You're being your authentic self. But if you don't, you will be kicked out of that court. You will be kicked out of that court. So I understand exactly what you mean. So what you're doing is you're realizing this is what I must do to be my you be. And let me say this, because I said it on the stream when I'm going to throw up tomorrow. And okay, good. I believe what Joe Blast is describing is called imposter syndrome. I understand exactly what that means. You're being your authentic self, but when you go into those situations, you know how to carry yourself. When you go into the court, you being your authentic self. You just know the rules of engagement when you go there. When you go into, if you were going to the White House, there's certain things you have to do before you even accept it into the White House, regardless who is the president. You're never going to address the president by his first name. It's Mr. President. You understand there's different rules. Does that take away from who you are? No, it does not. But you understand the rules of engagement in that particular socialization that's taking place. I remember I took sociology in college at Akron University, for those who want to check, at Akron University. My first year, I think it's my freshman year I took it. Very interesting. That is what we're missing inside of this space. Thanks. Shout out once again to Ron Wheels. He can give him more justice. I think he had a book, but I got to go look at the book that he suggested to read about this, especially within the Black community. You're conforming to the rules of the social group, right? But that does not take away from who you are. If you were to go into the hood, you had to conform to the to the rules of the hood. They know when you belong or don't belong. So what happens is, that's why I'm saying at the top of this, the first game that you must run is on yourself. And what I mean is, you got to look at yourself, but you got to look at, I want you to look at, you need to write down who are the last 5 people that I dealt with or interact with, as far as what relationship wise, your friends wise, and what are they saying about you? People don't want to, people, I want the game. I want to be this. I want to do that. No. Your socialization says a lot about who you are and who you will deal with. Your what? Socialization says a lot about who you are and who you will deal with. Your socialization says a lot about who you are and who you will deal with. And then there are subsectors even in that. If you're into exercising, guess what? There's groups for that. If you're into motorcycles, there's groups for that. If you're into the cooking group, or you're into guys, or there's a group here where I'm locally, they all got bicycles and they all ride around together. That's a social group. They all do the same thing. Then there's another socialization group, those who smoke cigars. They all got to go to the cigar shops and what they all smoke cigars there. All different sectors. So why are you not looking for the opposite sex in those social groups that you already frequent? So you need to really do why I say the game must first start with you, or you must run the first game that you must run is on yourself. It's because you need to look at yourself. You need to examine where you really are in life and not what you delusionally believe you are. Once again, back to the example of some women, I want to have value man. It's not about the money per se, because money, you do need money. But it is that, can you socialize at the level of a high value man? That is the real issue. What is the real issue? Can you socialize with those particular men? And for the man, can you socialize with those particular women? Sex is easy. Okay, great. But can you socialize? Can you fit in those different sectors? Even on YouTube, as you're going to see, I wore this because this is someone's business that I wanted to showcase, and I can give you the information. You can get it. This is her. What you see, I showcase other people's businesses. But even let's pay attention to this. But in these last 8 minutes, even on YouTube, there's different socializations of class here. Do you understand how deep this goes? How much we are social creatures or tribal creatures? Think of it as a authentic mass of yourself. We mastered the mass required for each class that we are now a part of, and that are now a part of us. So even on YouTube, there's different social class. I'm not for everyone, while they may listen to someone else. Does that mean because they may listen to somebody else and not prefer me, that either one of what we're saying is not true? No, it's understanding that your socialization resonates with who the person is that you're listening to. That's why I can't listen to everyone, because you know why? My socialization and where I'm going or where I'm at does not resonate with them. You can't listen to every preacher. You can't listen to every person or content on here because your socialization does not resonate with you. Does that make the other person that you don't resonate with wrong? No, it doesn't. It means that you're not socialized at the same level or at the same place as them. Everybody's not for LDA. Because I can be arrogant. I say words, socialization. That's like somebody said, that's a $5 word, $10 word. I got a library. I read, I study, I hang out in different places. You can check my Instagram, Lawrence D. Adams. You see what I'm doing? Because my socialization resonates with you. That is the difference. Now, if you see me constantly in the hood, constantly hanging out over here doing that, no, you see me at restaurants. You see me I'm doing this because this is my life. Even if I wasn't posted, there's people who know me outside of YouTube who can vouch right in this chat room. This is who I am outside of here. YouTube or not, Instagram or not, this is how I live. My place is nice, clean. When you come here to my residence, it's clean. Decorated how I like it. There's Leo in the back because you know why? It's part of my what? Socialization of who I am. Hat. This is who I am. As you see, I got black, brown, and gray. I need a blue one. What? Because it's part of my socialization, because my father used to get his suits custom made. My mother used to make her own clothes. My mother was going to be a model. Do you understand my socialization? My socialization, even in church, growing up in church, there's different social classes, even in churches, according to the level of their understanding and what? Their education. Do you see how deep this goes? So certain a man, as the example that Ron Wills gave, is that a woman who's into her social classes into church, a particular church, will find a man that may be a Muslim, but she would never what marry him because their religions don't fit into the social classes, will clash. Two different ideologies. Once again, another word. If this is making sense with you, please let me know in the chat room. We probably need to go a little bit further deep. Hey, what's going on, Trav? We probably need to go a little bit deeper with this. Certain social classes, certain You got to realize your socialization says a lot about you and who you interact with and who you deal with. Stop fighting it. Once you stop fighting it and realize what you've been socialized with or who you've been socialized to mate with or to interact with, then you have an opportunity to change that and pick better choices. If this is resonating with you, understood what I'm saying, or you say, LD, I need you to go a little bit deeper or need a little bit further, let me know. Get the lights up. I can't listen to everybody. I don't resonate with everybody. My socialization don't allow me to do that. But that does not mean that what the other person is saying is wrong. What it shows is my socialization is different from yours, and I'm okay with that. That's where most people miss it. That's where we get into disputes about. That's where we fight each other over different things, even in relationships, because you got to think about it. If you've been socialized a certain way and the other person's been socialized another way, guess what happens? This makes sense. Let me know in the chat room. If this makes sense to what I'm saying, let me know in the chat room. It's the reason why. Remember, the number today is 8. All week it's been 8. New beginnings. And I have not given justice to this because I got to do some more studying on the socialization and your mating. There's only certain type of women that I deal with that fit into my socialization. Same with you. Hence, let me say that the reason why some women got mad because, oh, I want a high value man. Are you socialized to even deal with a high value man or a man that owns his own business or a man who does this? Sometimes you need to really look at where you're saying with the guy, you deal, I want this woman because she look like this. Are you socialized to deal with that? And it's not a wrong thing if you haven't. You just need to be honest with yourself. Thank you. There you go. See, we're learning. You've been what? Socialized. Certain things I just certain level of rat. I can't deal with certain level of ratchetness or hood stuff. That's why a corporate person may have difficulty dealing with someone that's from the hood. Very true. Only one caveat to that. Caveat, another word. The only one caveat to that is if they came from the hood and made it to corporate America, they still have some socialization from the hood. So yeah, you are correct in what you're saying. But the caveat is this: if they come from the hood and they built themselves up to there, they have still some socialization where they understand the person from the hood. That's why you would see a guy or a lady who like, why are they with that person? Because on some level, they might have came from that and they understand that. That's why. Was this too much for you? Let me know if this is too much. I'm about to come in. I'm at my 1:30 right now. Does this make sense to you, what I've said? Does this shed light on what has been said? Have this really shared light on some things that you're wondering why it's not working? Your socialization has a lot to do with it, whether you try to fight it or not. That's why this channel is not for everybody, because my personal socialization resonates with yours. Spiritual, academic, style, all that things, and eating certain things, healthy, and what I eat and how I carry myself. That's my socialization. That what attracts you. That's why certain people you can listen to and some people you can't. But this is the problem. If you mix match them with certain things, you can get information food poisoning. Let me say that again. You can get information. You first heard it here. Information food poisoning. Information food poisoning. Because you're eating, and my mother said what? Yeah, you got to break this one down. This one you got to break down, bro. You got to break this one down. What happens is People get information food poisoning because they're eating at everyone's house and they don't know who the cook is. You don't know how clean they are. You don't know what they've been thinking, their intentions, and you don't know if they wash their hands before they cook the meal. You don't know what they did, and you eating at people's houses and you're getting information food poisoning. I'm talking to somebody. You're getting information food poisoning because you're eating at different places and you don't know what or who made it, if they're how clean they are, and what their intentions are. But the side of it is this: explain food poisoning. That means food poisoning is that something has been prepared and it doesn't go with your digestive tract, or you don't know how they prepared it. Was it clean or not clean? Or it may not be right for you. So you get what? Information food poisoning. First heard it here because I heard somebody else say a couple of quotes that I said before. And two, if you're eating at all these different places and the food that you're getting does not go where you says, I cannot, when I get older, certain things I can't eat anymore. Not that it's so much poison in me, it doesn't fit my system. I need to stop. I'm at 33. Mastery number. It doesn't fit my system. Right. Food poisonings, like some of these different content creators. Please, you right on the bruh. You right there. You right there. That's why it's careful. Know who's feeding the information to you. Their intention, their motive, their track record. What are they saying? Information food poisoning. You heard it here. First here. First here. So you hear anywhere else, you know where it came from. So you have to look at, that's why, like certain places I can't eat at. I know it's going to go right through me. Certain places I can't eat it. I'm like, okay, I get that. Hence, why what? Warren B, Jono, what? Because we resonate on some level. The information that they mix up, that they have, what is digestible for my palate and for the people that I serve, which are you. Y'all first heard it here. Information food poisoning. So when you hear it somewhere else or quotable, you realize that LDA came up with it first. That can go on a shirt. Yeah, I believe so. Cats getting the chitlins of the information. Woo! Trav, come up right quick before I leave out because I gotta get ready to go. And I'm gonna right quick, come up right quick on that one. Uh-oh, shoot. Did I do that right? Let me do that right. Yeah, that's right. Come up right quick and I'm gonna go. Cats are getting the chitlins of the information and not the filet mignon. Wow. Thank you for the super chat on that. I had to fall back for some of these content creators, food poisoners. You. Thank you for the super chat. This is not to, please understand. Please understand, because this is never my motive, not my intentions. This is not my intentions, please. There are content creators who are just right for the people that they serve, and they may not be right for you. That's all I'm saying. This is not to crap on anyone or to talk disparaging about anyone else's what they deliver, because they easily, I say that about them, they can say that about me. So I am not in any way, please understand where I stand at, because that's not how I move. is to talk about any other content creator and how they move and what they do. So I want to make sure that's very clear. What's going on, Trav? Let's talk about. I sort of went over, but you said something pretty heavy right there. Cats getting what? The chitlins of the information.
Right. No, I mean, that's all on you, bro. I mean, I was just kind of just going off of what you said. So, I mean, I got to give you credit on that. But no, I mean, that information, food poisoning, that's true. Because one thing too is like a lot of people out here are repeating information. They're not giving information. And it's okay to take points and repeat it, but if you're repeating it, but you haven't digested it properly and you're just regurgitating, you know what I mean? Then you're not really teaching the information. You're just using someone else's point and putting it together. You have to be able to like digest what you said and come from your own point of view. Like what you're saying is not necessarily unique, but it is unique at the same time because no one's put it like that. That analogy of information food poisoning, like that's a really good analogy right there. Because if you take the information in, but you don't digest it properly, then what was the point?
Thank you. I appreciate that. And even for me to talk about socialization, so I got that from, and I'm emphasizing that, I got that from Ron Wills. So I don't want nobody to say, well, he can't. No, I'm telling you the source where I got it from. But what I did was I went to go study it, and I went to go say, let me look at his socialization. Let me look at social class. And I'm not even giving justice to what Ron Wills said in his video. So I'm always shouting out the man who I'm giving and when we do papers in college, you got to give the footnotes of where the what. You got the source of the information, right? I'm giving the footnote. It came from Ron Will. So I want everybody to understand that. And please, and in what I'm saying this is no slight on any content creator and what they do on YouTube. Everyone has their own lane, and there's enough of the pie for everybody to eat. But I am saying when you eating at all these different places, you can get information food poisoning.
And there's nothing wrong with that too, as long as you give, credit where credit's due. But at the same time, sometimes somebody can take someone else's message and do a better job of putting it out there for people to understand. It's kind of like there was an interview. I remember I saw this thing with Michael Jackson and James Brown, and they were like linked up. And like Michael Jackson was like, I can't take like credit for a lot of the stuff I do. He was like, I got it from James Brown. And then James Brown was like, nah, he's like, maybe you took some of my steps, but you took my steps and then created your own steps. So James Brown wasn't tripping. He was like, no, it's not like you just carbon copied me. He's like, you took what I showed you and then you took it to another level that I didn't take it. So it's like, it's okay if you take it from somebody. We all take something from somebody.
Everybody. Yeah.
I mean, we all didn't come up with the original thought. You know what I mean? Some of these things that we were saying, Aristotle was saying like, 2000 BC or something like that.
Right. And then Aristotle got it from where? The Egyptians.
Yeah, but sometimes it takes that person to take the information that's present and put something on it to where a new group of people can digest it better, if that makes sense.
Thank you. So a lot of these content creators are speaking from experience. That's what I prefer. Yeah, I'm speaking from experience, especially with the socialization. Like, as far as we're dealing with different women and different in business. There's certain, and I need to go. I'm really past my time, but I need to say this. I know you can chime in on this. Do you realize, I'm asking this question and we got to go. There's different social class of women that you deal with versus if you look at the five last people that you dealt with, there's certain things about them that pretty much are sort of common, and their socialization.
Yeah, that's for sure. And sometimes if you don't meet these different women with different socialization, then you might just got the chitlins of women. You know what I mean? And then once you get the filet mignon or the prime rib or whatever, then you can compare and contrast. Then that'll change your whole palette. A lot of these guys that are complaining about women are dealing with the chitlins of women. That's why.
And the chitlins, because they have not been socialized to deal with anything else.
Mm-hmm.
There's no matter what, there's this purpose. This is the thing I want people to get, and there's 18 people watching. Thank you for that super chat, Renaissance. Is that your socialization says a lot about you and who you deal with and who you mate with. We have an example. I can't give his name. I don't want to give his name out, of a particular person that's in our group or it's part of our thing. His socialization attracted a certain thing and it produced something else. And we congratulated him today.
Mm-hmm.
If he would have showed something different, less than, we would have been like, that don't fit you, sir.
Yeah.
Because of his socialization, how he carry himself and what he deals with, we know that he deals with a certain type of woman.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was asking you in so many words. The women that you deal with, what's going on, Trini girl eyes? So the women that you have dealt with, the women that you deal with, what are socialized and what? Give two examples of the women that you deal with. Say the last 5. There's something about their socialization that are the same, so guys can understand and relate to it.
Are or aren't?
Are the same.
Are. Mm-hmm. So 2 of the last 2 girls that come to mind. One girl is very accomplished in her field, was professional and did it for years and all that, and was a 4.0 student growing up. So the socialization that I have with her and the interaction I have with her, it's a lot more pleasant. Like, there isn't issues of when we do stuff about money. There isn't really issues of compliance. I'm not saying she's perfect, but none of us are. But some of these things that people complain about in the quote unquote manosphere don't exist with her. Not to say that there isn't issues at times, because you're going to have issues with anybody, but I don't really have any issues. If we go out, she offers to pay for things because she values my time, because of how she sees me as a person. I don't have to tell her to do that. Just like with another lady that I talked to, same thing. With the interactions we've had, even though I'm willing to put money up, she puts out more money than I do. That has nothing necessarily to do with me per se. It does, but at the same time, that's just their character shining through. So when I hear these different complaints, and these are some of the more prettier women that I've dealt with. So when I hear some of these complaints from people, it's like, oh, you just haven't sourced the right people yet. You're not going and finding these people that do exist. And that might take time. I'm not saying that came overnight, but that came through trial and error and learning and figuring out, okay, this person has this person has that.
The common denominator is you, though, because you socialize, your socialization, what resonates with them on some way, on some form. I think that's what a lot of guys miss, that your socialization resonates with them on some level. That's why whatever you do with them, it automatically, it works. She has to feel there is some connection with you. Good, bad, or indifferent. There has to be some, your socialization. Well, you went to college, right?
Mm-hmm.
My point is, there's a socialization connection, because now you understand women who went to college because you was in college. I'm not saying that a person who doesn't go to college doesn't understand, but there's certain things that only you experience at college that only a person who went to college will understand about dorm rooms, sneaking somebody in, doing this happening, the parties at night, spinning the bottle. All these things are socialization things that took place at college, getting ready for a class, doing an all-nighter. A person who worked at a job would never understand that because they have not been socialized. Not that it's good or bad for that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And I can also say this too, like, just real quick, like, it also took me to make mistakes with other people to realize how to deal, because there were different women that did things that were inappropriate, like, maybe ghosting or something like that. But I took that energy into the next person I dealt with and then put that energy onto them when they didn't deserve it. And then I made mistakes. Like one woman that I went out with, she was kind of weird, but she was like, I didn't like that you made me pay for something on the first date. Now, not all women care about that, but in the situation that happened, I could have handled that better. It wasn't really wrong how what I asked for her to do. But when I look back on it, Maybe it was the manner of how I did it that made it seem like that. And I'll take responsibility for that. But it strengthened me for the next person that I met. So, you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is. So I'm past I am like 15 minutes, 16 minutes past my time. Man, thank you for shooting up. But yes, be careful that you don't get information poison. You heard it first here. Nobody else said this. You're going to hear people say it because I heard somebody else talking about mental masturbation. Only person you heard that from was me.
That's a fact.
So information poisoning, be careful on who you receive or what table that you sit down on, and that the restaurant that you go, because this is like a restaurant that you receive, that it fits your palate and that you're able to digest it. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for coming up, Trav. And we are going.